What if I told you there's a human body, encased in glass, that's been lying there for almost 150 years, and it looks like the person just took a nap? No embalming. No cryogenic tricks. No high-tech preservation methods. Just a body. Still, soft skin. Intact eyelashes. Peaceful expression. This isn't some urban legend or viral internet hoax. It's real. And the moment you see it, you feel something shift. Scientists, skeptics, and believers alike have stood in front of it and walked away in silence. Some call it a miracle. Others can't explain it at all. This is the story of Saint Bernadette Soubirous, the poor, sickly girl from Lourdes, France, whose incorrupt body is one of the most baffling mysteries in modern religious history. And recently, Pope Leo XIV made a statement that reignited global interest in her. He called her a living sign of the eternal. And whether you're a devoted Catholic or someone who rolls their eyes at the word miracle, what you're about to discover will challenge your understanding of life, death, and what might lie beyond. This isn't just about faith. This is about something science can't crack. So, let's go back, to 1858, to a forgotten little town nestled in the French Pyrenees. A place nobody paid attention to, until the visions began. Eyelashes. Peaceful expression. This isn't some urban legend or viral internet hoax. It's real. And the moment you see it, you feel something shift. Scientists, skeptics, and believers alike have stood in front of it and walked away in silence. Some call it a miracle. Others can't explain it at all. This is the story of Saint Bernadette Soubirous, the poor, sickly girl from Lourdes, France, whose incorrupt body is one of the most baffling mysteries in modern religious history. And recently, Pope Leo XIV made a statement that reignited global interest in her. He called her a living sign of the eternal. And whether you're a devoted Catholic or someone who rolls their eyes at the word miracle, what you're about to discover will challenge your understanding of life, death, and what might lie beyond. This isn't just about faith. This is about something science can't crack. So, let's go back, to 1858, to a forgotten little town nestled in the French Pyrenees. A place nobody paid attention to, until the visions began. In the mid-19th century, Lourdes wasn't known for anything. It was a sleepy village tucked away from the world, where poverty was normal and suffering was expected. That's where we meet Bernadette Soubirous, a 14-year-old peasant girl, sick with asthma, malnourished, and unable to read or write. Her family was so poor they lived in a former prison cell, one dark, cold room with barely any furniture. Life for Bernadette was hard, and no one, absolutely no one, expected greatness from her. But on February 11, 1858, everything changed. While out collecting firewood near a grotto called Massabielle, Bernadette experienced something that would shake the world. She saw a lady dressed in white, holding a golden rosary, standing in a niche in the rock. The woman smiled and said nothing. Bernadette alone could see her. Over the next 5 months, Bernadette would return to that grotto 18 times. Each time, the lady would speak a little more, until finally revealing herself as the Immaculate Conception. This shocked even the local clergy. The term Immaculate Conception had only recently been defined by the Catholic Church. How could a poor, illiterate girl know such a thing? Word spread like wildfire. Crowds began to gather. Some believed. Others mocked. But the mysterious spring that burst forth from the ground near the grotto, after Bernadette, as the apparitions continued, the Catholic Church launched an investigation. Bernadette was grilled by bishops, doctors, and skeptics who wanted to break her story apart. But she never changed her words. Never added anything. Never wavered. And the more they interrogated her, the more convinced many became that something extraordinary had happened. Yet Bernadette never sought fame. She didn't profit from the miracles or demand recognition. In fact, she asked to be left alone. In 1866, at the age of 22, she joined the Sisters of Charity in Nevers, France, and lived in a convent until her death. She took on humble duties, often working as an infirmary assistant. But even within the convent, she suffered greatly. Her health continued to deteriorate, and she was often bedridden. When asked about the visions later in life, she once said, "The lady used me like a broom, and now I've been put back in the closet." Bernadette died in 1879, at just 35 years old. She was buried in a simple wooden coffin in the convent's chapel grounds. And that, most people assumed, was the end of her story. But the Church hadn't forgotten. In 1909, 30 years after her death, her body was exhumed during the process of canonization. What they found left everyone speechless. Her body was untouched by decay. Imagine opening a coffin after 30 years and finding a body that looks like it's been asleep. That's exactly what happened with Saint Bernadette. But it didn't stop there. The Church, skeptical themselves, ordered 2 more exhumations, in 1919 and 1925. Each time, doctors were brought in. Secular, scientific, neutral. And each time, they left without answers. In 1919, Dr. Confronts, a leading French pathologist, examined her. He said her body was in an extraordinary state of preservation. Her skin was intact. The joints were still flexible. He wrote, "The body is practically mummified, yet there is no odor. No stiffness. No corruption." Her internal organs had, yes, naturally decayed, but her exterior was untouched. They even noted that her eyelashes and fingernails were still present. In 1925, the Church decided to enshrine her. A light wax mask was applied to her face and hands, not to deceive, but to protect her delicate skin from exposure. Her body was placed in a crystal casket and moved to the chapel of St. Gildard in Nevers. Today, she lies there, visible to all. People walk past, expecting to see a statue, and instead see something eerily real. Her serene face. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people make the journey to Nevers to see her. Not out of morbid curiosity, but out of awe. Believers kneel in tears. Skeptics stare in confusion. Children whisper. Adults leave speechless. Her body doesn't just sit there, it speaks. Without saying a word, Saint Bernadette's presence challenges everything we know about biology, about death, about the very fabric of what it means to be alive. And what makes this miracle even more profound is who she was. She wasn't powerful. She wasn't educated. She had nothing. Yet she became a vessel for something eternal. Lourdes, the site of her visions, has since become one of the most visited pilgrimage destinations in the world. Over 70 official medical miracles have been documented there, and countless more claimed. People come seeking healing, hope, or just to touch something beyond the ordinary. But it's in Nevers, quiet, understated Nevers, where the true mystery lies. In that glass coffin lies proof, many believe, that God leaves signs. Not grand ones. Not thunder and fire. But a quiet girl who never asked for anything, and was given a gift no one can explain. Her incorrupt body isn't a relic. It's a question carved into flesh: what if the soul really does linger? What if holiness leaves? Then came the moment that reignited global interest. Just weeks ago, Pope Leo XIV stood before the Vatican press corps and made a stunning declaration. Saint Bernadette, he said, remains for us a living sign. A body untouched by death. A witness to the mystery of God's grace. That statement, simple as it may seem, sent shockwaves through the Catholic world. Why now? Why her? In an era dominated by artificial intelligence, cloning, and digital resurrection, a 19th-century nun in a glass coffin had suddenly become the center of spiritual conversation. The Pope went further, calling for renewed study of the incorruptibles, saints whose bodies have resisted decay. But he made it clear, Saint Bernadette was not simply an anomaly. She was a message. He urged the faithful to look at her not with superstition, but with wonder. Science has its tools, he said. But God has his language. And sometimes, that language is silence. The Vatican's statement drew both praise and skepticism. Some theologians celebrated it as a return to reverence. Others warned against putting too much weight on physical phenomena. But the public? The public was captivated. Videos of Saint Bernadette began trending. TikToks, Reels, even skeptics on YouTube began dissecting the footage. Was it a hoax? So now I ask you the question I began with, do you believe in miracles? Real ones? Not stories or myths, but moments that break the rules of nature? Because if Saint Bernadette isn't a miracle, what is she? A glitch in biology? A freak event? Or something sacred, standing outside the reach of our instruments and equations? You don't have to be religious to feel something when you look at her. Even the hardest atheists walk away scratching their heads. There's something undeniably human, and undeniably divine, about a girl who lived in poverty, died in obscurity, and yet now lies in eternal rest, untouched by time. Her story reminds us that greatness often hides in the overlooked. That miracles don't always come in lightning bolts, they sometimes come in the quiet breath of a girl kneeling in prayer. Saint Bernadette never asked to be remembered. She never sought glory. And yet here she is, eternal. Her body a question. Her life a whisper. Her legacy? A challenge to every rule we've written about what it means to die. So maybe the better question isn't whether you believe in miracles. Maybe the real question is, what do you do when you see one face to face? What do you do when the impossible doesn't just happen, but keeps happening, century after century? Welcome to the mystery of Saint Bernadette.